Is it possible to blend the historic and the modern with both being perfectly balanced? Well, I think Seiko might have managed to do just that in this watch. Let me show you what I mean. Now, the dial is the main attraction when it comes to the Seiko Presage Classic Series Urushi SPB499, with its deep black shine and delicate gold printing. First of all, let's look at the technique used to create this incredibly glossy dial. This effect is created by Urushi lacquer, an ancient craft that uses the sap from the lacquer tree, which has been grown in Japan for thousands of years. Through multiple layers of lacquer and polishing, it's possible to build up a dial of this quality with a high level of shine and real depth that should be almost impossible to achieve at this price point. Of course, this is not the first time Seiko or Grand Seiko has used Urushi lacquer, and it's one of the many feathers in their dial-making cap that helps them stand out as a brand. Next, we have the gilt print, which has been stamped on this dial and, in particular, the elongated Roman numerals. It's this style of Roman numerals that's been directly inspired by the brand's first pocket watch, known as the Timekeeper, back when the company was called Seikosha in 1895. The design of these numerals makes them almost resemble baton markers, as they've been elegantly elongated and compressed. Having these stamped in a matte tone of gold only adds to the allure of the dial. With the train track minute markings, everything else on this dial applied in a uniform tone. There really is a sense of minimalism about it. This allows the luster of the dial itself to shine through. Sweeping across this dial is the centrally mounted hour and minute leaf hands and an extremely fine running seconds hand with a crescent counterweight. And the sub-dial at 6 o'clock is a 24 hours hand that acts as a day-night indicator, letting you know if the main hour hand is reading AM or PM, an elegant complication that does nothing to distract from this simple dial. Yet, it adds a nice extra layer of functionality. Now, while everything about this watch's dial screams classical, the proportioning of the case forces it into a more modern category. Measuring 40.2mm across, 12.1 thick, and 48mm from lug to lug, this watch falls outside of the vintage style sizing into proportions many think are ideal for the modern consumer. While we have seen Seiko go smaller in recent times, and in fact, they have gone smaller with this exact same movement, here they've made the decision to let this watch feel a bit more modern when it's on the wrist. What I think also helps this watch feel more modern is the water resistance rating of 100 meters, making it far more practical than many other dress watches on the market. The rest of this case feels fairly unremarkable. It has straight lugs which extend a fair way off from the case, an open case back to show off the automatic movement inside, and a decently sized, easily usable fluted crown. As with pretty much all Seiko designs, nothing feels out of place here. Everything is serving a functional purpose, while allowing that dial to be the main attraction. Keeping this watch running is Seiko's automatic 6R5H caliber, an impressive little movement that manages to keep 72 hours of power reserve whilst running at a standard and a 24-hour hour hand. It's a 3Hz variant of Seiko's long-running 9R line of movements that's proven itself time and time again to be consistent and cost-effective for what you are getting. There are no fancy finishings to speak of, but you do get a view of the brass rotor beating heart of this watch through that sapphire caseback. Holding this watch together is a simple black calf leather strap with a deployant buckle. What is nice to know about this strap is that the leather used for it was sourced from a tannery that has been certified sustainable by the Leather Working Group International Organization. But while it's on your wrist, what is really important is how that leather complements that deep black glossy dial. There is always a lot to say about a Seiko dial, and when they are combining an ancient technique with inspiration from the very earliest days of the company, there's even more to talk about. And one thing that I've always admired this brand for is making this level of design and craftsmanship available with such an accessible price point. With this model only setting you back £1,500 or 2,600 Aussie dollars. It's also interesting to see that while so much of the industry seems to be shrinking their watches, Seiko is not afraid to stick to the more standard sizing that there is undoubtedly still a market for. What do you think of this watch mixing classical styling with modern sizing? Let me know down in those comments. And remember, as always, like the video and subscribe to Time+Tide's YouTube channel to make sure you never miss another watch review just like this one.